NFL fans, few debates are more fun than discussing if a player belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame or not. There are plenty of notable NFL stars and veterans who've dominated for quite some time now, but for reasons we'll dive into, these 10 guys simply don't have the requirements to get into Canton. Number 10. Adam Thielen. The Minnesota Vikings Pro Bowl wideout is a nice feel-good story, going from undrafted product to a superstar for his hometown team. Late bloomer tales are always fun, but those guys almost never get to the Hall of Fame. Thielen didn't break out until 2016, his age 26 season. He recorded consecutive 1,000-yard seasons in 2017 and 2018, but Thielen missed 6 games in 2019 and had just 30 receptions for 418 yards and 6 touchdowns. The Vikings have to hope that Thielen will stay healthy from here on out, but now in his 30s, he'll likely only have a handful of Pro Bowl seasons left in him. But the two-time Pro Bowler will always be highly regarded in Minnesota, where he helped the Vikings reach the 2017 NFC Championship game. Better to be a late bloomer than to never bloom at all, but there's no way that he'll get into the Hall of Fame at this point. Number 9. Brandon Graham. The Philadelphia Eagles star has been one of the NFL's most dominant pass rushers since turning professional in 2010. And yet, Graham hasn't earned a single Pro Bowl season in his career. Is it because teammate Fletcher Cox has stolen all the thunder on that defensive line? Who really knows at this point? At any rate, Graham has a 2016 second-team All-Pro selection on his resume, and he strip-sacked Tom Brady late in Super Bowl 52 to help the Eagles clinch their very first Lombardi trophy. Graham is a classic case of how the stats don't tell the entire story. He didn't hit more than 9.5 sacks in a single campaign through his first 10 NFL seasons. However, he's been a top 10 edge defender in 6 of the last 8 seasons, according to Pro Football Focus. Unfortunately for Graham, stats really do matter to the voters, as do individual accomplishments and awards, which he's surprisingly lacking in. We wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles one day retired Graham's number 55. But Canton is a long shot from the looks of it. Number 8. Todd Gurley. Through his first 4 seasons, Gurley certainly looked poised to make a serious Hall of Fame case. But knee injuries have quickly taken a toll on Gurley's body, and it's practically impossible to envision him ever getting a call at this point. He has several individual accolades, sure, but you need longevity and the stats to make it in the Hall as a running back. 3 Pro Bowl nods, 2 first-team All-Pro selection, 2015 Offensive Rookie, and 2017 Offensive Player of the Year awards certainly look good on his resume. But the knee injuries began to take over in 2018, and Gurley was largely ineffective during the Rams' run to Super Bowl 53, where they fell to the New England Patriots. If Gurley was at full strength, who knows? Maybe the Rams would have won it all. Los Angeles cut back significantly on Gurley's workload in 2019. Though he recorded 12 rushing touchdowns, he also had a career-low 857 yards, averaging a mere 3.8 yards per carry. The Rams wound up releasing Gurley in the 2020 offseason, just 2 years after handing him a 4-year, $60 million extension. He later signed a 1-year prove-it deal with the Atlanta Falcons. But unless Gurley has a few more 1,000-yard seasons in him, there's no way he'll be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, guys like Priest Holmes and Jamal Lewis aren't in it, so how can Gurley get in if he doesn't even match their longevity and consistency? Number 7. Chris Harris Jr. Between 2014 to 2017, Harris was arguably the best cornerback in the NFL. He was an anchor in the Denver Broncos Super Bowl 50 championship, leading the no-fly zone secondary with Aqib Talib and Bradley Roby. Harris, a 4-time Pro Bowler, earned a first-team All-Pro nod in 2016, plus second-team All-Pro honors in 2014 and 2015. Not only that, but Harris was also named to the NFL's 2010s All-Decade team. So yeah, Harris was downright dominant during his time with the Broncos, but his play slipped a bit in 2019. And after bidding farewell to the Mile High City, Harris signed with the Los Angeles Chargers in 2020 free agency. We think Harris has at least a couple of quality seasons left, but he was only truly great for 5 years. And like we keep emphasizing, long-term dominance and consistency matters when it comes to the Hall. Harris only has 1 first-team All-Pro nod and no individual awards. His relatively low interception totals compared to other great corners also don't help his Hall of Fame case. If other great defensive backs like Eric Allen, Ken Riley, and Jack Tatum, who were simply better than Harris, aren't in Canton, then the former Broncos star shouldn't hold out hope about receiving a gold jacket of his own. Number 6. Andy Dalton. Dalton's stats are actually pretty good, and he's still not finished. That said, there are simply better quarterbacks who never got to the Hall of Fame, so barring a second-half surge of his career, don't expect Dalton to get in. In his 9 seasons with the Cincinnati Bengals, Dalton recorded 31,594 passing yards and 204 touchdowns. He earned 3 Pro Bowl selections and took Cincinnati to the playoffs 5 straight years from 2011 to 2015, including 2 AFC North Division titles. But Dalton, who signed a 1-year deal with the Dallas Cowboys in 2020, doesn't have the playoff success or individual accolades to get in the Hall. No MVP or Offensive Player of the Year awards, no leading the NFL in any major quarterback categories like passing yards, passing touchdowns, completion percentage, or passer rating, none of it. Fair or not, quarterbacks are judged by wins and postseason success, and Dalton couldn't get a single playoff win with the Bengals. Keep in mind that former Bengals quarterbacks Ken Anderson and Boomer Esiason both won MVP awards and had several individual accolades, and they both led Cincinnati to a Super Bowl appearance. Yet, they're both not in the Hall. So unless Dalton goes on a run and wins like 2 Lombardi trophies or something, don't expect the Red Rifle to get in either. Number 5. Clay Matthews III. The 6-time Pro Bowl linebacker was one of the NFL's most dominant defensive stars from 2009 to 2015. During that time frame, he was on track for a Hall of Fame career. But Matthews' production has dropped drastically since his last Pro Bowl nod in 2015. And even though he's enjoyed a brilliant career, Matthews will probably have to settle for the Hall of Very Good. Matthews earned first and second team All-Pro nods in 2010 and 2012 respectively. If it weren't for Troy Polamalu, Matthews would have won the 2010 Defensive Player of the Year award. Matthews was a key cog in the Packers' Super Bowl 45 championship as well, and we have no clue how his team didn't manage to win more in the Mike McCarthy-Aaron Rodgers era. Matthews' declining production led to his departure from the Packers in 2018. He signed a 1-year deal with the Rams in 2019, but he wasn't able to enjoy a bounce-back season. His uncle, Bruce Matthews, is enshrined in Canton, but Matthews' father, Clay Jr., was a 4-time Pro Bowl linebacker who never received the call to Canton. His son appears to be headed down the same path, but don't be fooled. His career is nothing to be ashamed of. Most NFLers could only dream of accomplishing what Clay Matthews III has. Number 4. Stephon Gilmore. Like Thielen, Gilmore is playing at a Hall of Fame level right now. The problem, of course, is that he too was a late bloomer and time isn't on his side. Gilmore earned a Pro Bowl selection with the Buffalo Bills in 2016, but he became elite after he signed with the New England Patriots in 2017. Gilmore made his case as the league's top corner in 2018, earning Pro Bowl and first-team All-Pro nods after helping the Pats win Super Bowl 53. Gilmore picked off Jared Goff late in the fourth quarter of the big game to ice it, putting the cherry on top of a superb season. Gilmore followed it up with his best season yet in 2019, winning the Defensive Player of the Year award to go with his second first-team All-Pro nod. Gilmore may be the NFL's best corner now. He's in that elite class of defensive players without a doubt. But cornerbacks tend to slow down by their early 30s, so it's hard to imagine Gilmore having many prime years left. There were so many great Patriots who never made it to the Hall of Fame. Hard to see it being any different for Gilmore, unless he can play at a top-tier level for 3 or 5 more years. But that's probably a bit too ambitious. Number 3. LeSean McCoy. We'll say that McCoy has a much stronger case than just about everybody else on this list, but our guess is that he's gonna just miss the cut. McCoy is a part of the exclusive 10,000 yards club, and he hit the 70 rushing touchdown mark in 2019. The 6-time Pro Bowler has 6 1,000-yard seasons on his resume, and the 2-time first-team All-Pro led the league in rushing during the 2013 season. McCoy's strong career was highlighted by a Super Bowl 54 championship with the Kansas City Chiefs, though he didn't play in the big game. It's obviously a very good resume, but McCoy probably needed more individual accolades to get in. He only led the NFL in rushing once, and he doesn't have any MVP or Offensive Player of the Year awards. He was great, but McCoy didn't really stand out from the other great running backs of his era, like Frank Gore and Adrian Peterson. Thing is, other members of the 10,000 yards club like Steven Jackson, Corey Dillon, Fred Taylor, Tiki Barber, Jamal Lewis, Ricky Williams also aren't in the Hall of Fame. So, I wouldn't expect McCoy's stats to be enough to convince the Canton committee that he deserves an induction. Number 2, Julian Edelman. If there was a Hall of Fame strictly for postseason performers, Edelman would be inducted in his first year of eligibility. Only the GOAT, Jerry Rice, has more career postseason catches and receiving yards. Edelman, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, has been remarkably clutch throughout his career. He got the game-winning touchdown against the Seattle Seahawks Legion of Boom in Super Bowl 49. He made that unbelievable circus catch against the Atlanta Falcons to set up the unforgettable 28-3 comeback in Super Bowl 51. He won Super Bowl 53 MVP honors after going off for 10 receptions and 141 yards in the victory. 3 rings, a Super Bowl MVP, and countless clutch moments? So why isn't he a Hall of Famer? Well, Edelman hasn't earned a single Pro Bowl selection, and he hasn't led the league in any major receiving categories. The regular season stats aren't there either. He only has 3 1,000-yard seasons on his resume, and the PED-related suspension in the 2018 season could hurt his case. Edelman will be inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame, and they'll probably retire as number 11. But Canton? Nope, simply not gonna happen. Number 1. Matthew Stafford. If Stafford had played in the 80s, 90s, or early to mid 2000s, he would have a much better case. He's a very good quarterback. But guess what? There have been 20-something very good quarterbacks since he entered the NFL in 2009. Stafford is the ultimate stats machine. He's already part of the 40,000 passing yards and 250 touchdown club. But that's not going to be enough. Otherwise, Canton would have to think about inducting guys like Tony Romo, Kirk Cousins, Michael Vick, Drew Bledsoe, Alex Smith, and Carson Palmer. Stafford has yet to win a playoff game with Detroit. He did win the 2011 Comeback Player of the Year award, but he hasn't captured the MVP or Offensive Player of the Year honors. He also has just 1 Pro Bowl selection, and Stafford hasn't once led the league in a major passing category. If Stafford was on a better team that didn't waste the bulk of his prime years, he probably could have been a Hall of Famer, but he can only do so much on a team with minimal talent and terrible management. Add it all up, and it's already very tough to see how he'll find his way into Canton. What other current NFL stars won't make it to the Hall of Fame? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton, and hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.